Hello and welcome to the Full Life Podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. Could you please introduce yourself to everybody and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing now and how you got to where you are today?
Yep, cool. So I'm Dr. Raymond Nichols. I am a doctor of chiropractic, and I'm originally from Laura, Mississippi. And kind of what got me into this whole just holistic and chiropractic realm is that I grew up in a household where a lot of sickness, a lot of disease, a lot of chronic diseases, things like that. And I just knew that there had to be a different way. So that's what got me down the road of like, what does that different way look like? And I was just open to it. And then that allowed me to find chiropractic. And chiropractic, I love to do it. I love to serve people in the capacity that we do, helping people reconnect themselves physically, also mentally. But essentially, I just help their brain and body talk better to each other because the body heals itself. It's self-healing and self-maintaining and self-organizing. But sometimes we have a problem with our spine. It can affect the way that self-healing capacity. It can limit that self-healing capacity to an extent. So that's kind of what got me into chiropractic realm. And from since then, just more so of continuing to educate my patients, continue to empower them, and also on social media as well, being able to empower people out there, doing things like this, being able to connect through a podcast. Super important to be able to educate, empower, and let people know what health is and how to maintain and really get the most out of life. Because we live one life, I guess. I mean, for now at least, what we know. We want to live one life, and I think if we should live it, being resilient, being just like badass and like having a great time and really enjoying it, and not having limitations or living up to that essentially. So yeah, that's kind of what got me into it and kind of where I am, and just want to impact the world and change the world one person at a time.
Awesome. Well, you're doing amazing work. Um, what do you think the biggest misconception is around chiropractic medicine that people have?
Yep. I think the biggest misconception is that people try to compare it. So I think it's something that's not supposed to be compared because it's in its own lane, its own realm of care, essentially, of healthcare, or whatever. Um, and so I think when people come from this like allopathic mindset or like this allopathic mindset essentially, and then go into the realm of chiropractic where it's more holistic, and we want to actually correct the problem, not know your symptoms so we can put a name on the symptoms and like, okay, with this name that we put on the symptom, then this is how we're going to treat that thing. So it's coming from a totally different paradigm. So I think that's why people are like have these different questions, right? Because they're coming from this paradigm and they're going into this new paradigm of chiropractic, and it's just something that they haven't been taught. So when I introduce this way of being, this way of chiropractic to my patients, I'm like, hey, guys, your body heals itself. Like, I'm not here to heal you. I'm not here to fix you. And they looking like I'm crazy, but that's the reality of it. I'm not here to do those things. I'm here just to be a guide. I'm like, I have knowledge. I have skills as far as the adjusting wise, to be able to help you facilitate healing and help you hold space for you, where you don't see that just this intelligent thing that's within us, this healing capacity that we have. A lot of people just don't know. Like, I feel like they don't like really honor it the way that we do. And so I guess misconceptions would be more so of, first they think that we're gonna fix them, right? We're gonna fix their low back, their neck pain, their headaches. Um, and another thing is that a misconception is that a lot of people think that chiropractic is about pain, it's about symptoms, and in reality, it's really not. Um, it's actually about communication between brain and body. That's only thing I'm worried about, essentially. Because I know when the brain is talking to the body is talking back to the brain effectively and efficiently. The body is going to heal itself, it's going to function like it should, and it's going to be able to adapt like it should. So those are a couple of misconceptions I see a lot with people in chiropractic that's coming from the allopathic mindset.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being totally honest, it wasn't until like last year that I realized what chiropractic medicine really was, because all you hear about is like, oh, I broke my back, I'm going to see a chiropractor. So I don't really think it's well known that, you don't have to be in pain to go see a chiropractic doctor.
Yep.
So I know there's definitely a lot of misconceptions out there. So thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned, I loved a lot of things that you mentioned, but I love that you said that we don't realize how powerful we are and that we can really heal ourselves. And I agree with you. That's why I became a nutritionist, because I really believe so I believe in the power of food to really heal us. And a lot of people don't realize this, like you said. So why do you think we grew up not really understanding our power when it comes to our health, and not really understanding that it's really our responsibility? And I think people still don't really realize that, most people. So why do you think that is? Why are we not taught that we have so much power when it comes to our health?
Yeah, I imagine for many reasons. I'm going to say that just it's not a thing that's taught to us. It's like, okay, what's taught to us that if you have even if you watch TV, like I don't watch TV, but if you watch TV, you see all these commercials of like, hey, if you have this symptom, this symptom, this symptom, this symptom, this symptom, this, go to your doctor. You may need this, so it can fix you, right? Like literally, for people that watch TV, like they're being inundated with all of this stuff. And when I was a kid, I mean, I used to watch TV. I used to see these things. I think I lost you. The video.
Am I back?
No, I can hear you, but I guess I don't see you.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
I can see you.
Okay.
That's really weird.
Say video has been disabled due to internet quality issues. The video is still recorded. The video is still recorded. I think hopefully keep going.
Yeah, hopefully, because I can see you, so hopefully on the end it's fine.
Perfect. Yeah, but yeah, I think it just comes down to more so of who, like, the way we've been taught, the way we have been taught of like, if you have this thing wrong with you, then you need to go to this person for them to fix you. And I think with that mindset there is like we're thinking about it totally wrong, because if we think about it from that perspective, then that means that we don't have power. That means that we are hopeless and powerless, and that someone else has to fix us. And when that's not the reality, because there you go, you're back. But that's not the reality, because the body is meant to heal itself. And I say that the best doctor in the world is yourself, like your body, right? So I think that's why, one of the reasons why that we have lost this like power, I guess, our inner power, and like we just need to. And that's what I've been really harping on, is like take responsibility for your health, because we only get one body, right? Because if I ask a question like, hey, if I gave you this Ferrari, but this is the only car that you can have for the rest of your life, would you take care of it? And people was like, yes. I'm like, well, you got to make sure that you change the oil. You got to make sure you have the maintenance on. You got to make sure you have fuel in it, right fuel, all these different things. I'm like, well, you have your Ferrari. You already have. You had it from when you got here, right? So let's take care of it, right? It's the body. Right. So there's a quote that says, you can't medicate your way out of a problem that you behave your way into. And like, I love that quote because it's so true. Like, it's so true. Right. So yes, I think that's one of the reasons why we have lost that inner, lost our power essentially, like, and just giving it away. And I think it's also a way to like excuses, where it's easy to make excuses when you don't not responsible for something. It's also easy to put it off on someone else, even though you may have put yourself in that position. But it's just easy to like cop out of it, essentially.
Yep, because it's definitely not easy to take care of your health. It's not something that you can do for 5 minutes a day and just move on. It's like a lifelong, it's a lifelong process and a journey. And there's always things you can improve on, and it's like never ending. So
Yeah,
I definitely agree with you that it's easy to be like, oh, it's not my fault. Like, I'm just gonna be this way, and this is how it is, and I can't do anything to change it,
yeah,
unfortunately. But the funny thing is, like, the healthier you become, the easier it gets to take care of yourself because you feel so good and you're like, oh, this is easy. I want to keep feeling like this forever. And it
totally,
just becomes
totally
a
agree.
habit.
Yes, and I think it's health starts with it's a choice. Right, health is
Mm-hmm.
literally just one. Health is a choice, like literally. So when you start putting these choices, these actions, like you start stringing them along, essentially, like okay, I did this, and like this is a healthy thing. I'm doing this. So you have this string of like healthy choices, healthy actions that you've taken, and then
Mm-hmm.
again, like you just said, it becomes a lifestyle. It becomes easier because you have evidence based off the way you function, based off the way you feel, the way you look, whatever it may be. You have the evidence behind you. It's like, oh, I've done this, and this is where I am, and I want to keep creating this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. I agree. And it feels so good to do so. So, what do you think? I guess, what does health mean to you? What is true health?
True health is, I'm going to say, it's not what you feel, it's not the way you look. It's going to come down. It comes down from based off of what I've studied and things like that, and what I teach my patients every day is that it's about functionality, right? It's about functionality, and it's not just. I'm not just talking physically either. I'm talking spiritually, right? Socially, like obviously physically, mentally. So it's those having those rims of like the functionality and having the when you're well in all of those states because it's not just a physical thing. I know we like to think about health as just being a physical thing, but you can be doing all the right things, but maybe emotionally, like you're disconnected, which emotionally it can impact your physical being, right? So I think it's actually going to be all of those rims when we're functioning at 100% in all of those, and obviously we're going to feel good. So that's what I think about health in general, and just it's a journey, like you said, like it's a literally every day, right? Every choice is every action that we take.
Yep, it definitely is. And that's something I realized when I first became a nutritionist and I was studying nutrition in school. And I was so focused on the food aspect. And then, like, the more time went on, I was like, oh, if I don't feel good emotionally, if I'm not healed from my trauma, it doesn't matter what I eat, I'm still going to be unhealthy and unhappy. And that's kind of how my brand evolved to being the full life because I'm like, it's so much more than just food, it's so much more than just exercise, it's everything. And if you
Yeah,
don't include every single aspect, you're never going to be healthy or happy. And I
love it.
think that further, like makes sense why people don't want to take care of their health and take responsibility because it really you really do have to look at every single aspect, and sometimes that can be overwhelming and scary. So it makes sense why so many of us don't want to take that responsibility.
Unfortunately, I guess.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's definitely easy way to cop out, and we use it a lot. A lot of people use it a lot to be able to just push this responsibility off and not take action. I think the crazy thing about it is that if even with speaking from you, I mean nutritionist, I was thinking about this the other day actually, and so from a nutrition standpoint, I think about okay, the body is developed. So when when you're or in your mom's belly, right, you're developing. Um, yes, you can't eat or you can't drink, but what she drinks and what she eats is how you are developing and sustaining life, right? And so when we
Yeah.
are born, so we get unattached from that. Obviously, when we're like untethered, essentially. So now it's up to us essentially to now take in the foods and what we drink, right? And so I mean, nutrition is a major part of health, right? It's more so it's not getting it from our mom to help us develop now. It's more so it's on us, right, to be able to get those things in our bodies, the fuel that, excuse me, the fuel that our body needs in order for it to continue to be sustained, for it to continue to be healthy, functioning. And it's interesting that because the things that we eat, right, we got to think about what do they eat, because essentially it goes back to that those are the things that we're trying to get, right? As we it's like so eating to me is like this like barrier, not barrier thing, but this second thing or this different way we're able to get the things that um, the plant takes in or what the animal takes in, whatever it is. This is our way to be able to get those nutrients that they took in either from Earth, right, or from the sun energy. So that's the way. So I think to me, it's like very fascinating that that's how we're able to get that energy from something else that took it in, so that we can be able to get it and become it. So I just think that's super fascinating. The fact that you're a nutritionist, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, no, it's so fascinating to me, all of it. And the more I study nutrition, like the more I find that there is to learn. It's a never ending process, and it's just so, it's amazing. It's amazing that something that's literally like from the earth and free, not free anymore, but like if we choose to grow it, free to us.
Yeah,
Like it's just amazing that all of these things that are free are how good they are for us and how much they can do for us.
yeah,
I always say, I'm like, it's kind of weird that we have to pay for water, even though water is free.
yeah. I say a lot because I mean, we think about it, we have to pay to live. You live in LA, so say like
Yeah.
you have to pay to live in LA or pay to live wherever you are. Um, and I'm glad you said that because I have it's like literally three bird nests underneath our patio back in the back. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, they living rent free.
I always say that about my cat. I'm like, you get food and a place to stay and water, and you don't have to pay for
Yeah,
anything.
yep, crazy, huh?
It's crazy. Um, so I know we talked about like everything contributing to health, but what do you feel is the number one cause of sickness and disease from all of those things?
Um, so I'm going to say it has to come down for me. It just comes down to not giving the body what it needs. Needs can come in different forms. Obviously, we talked about nutrition. It could be movement, right? It can be meditation. It can be mindfulness, just recuperation, um, sunlight, grounding, right? So, not giving the body what it needs in order for it to be at its optimal, because our bodies are intelligently um, like equipped to be able to be healthy, right? So we're meant to be healthy. And I did a post on this like recently, like maybe like yesterday, maybe, but just talking about how it's not natural for us to have sickness and illness, right? It's not that like we're just gonna have it, like it's the thing that happens. Like no, like it's not natural for us to have aches, pains, headaches, like none of these different symptoms that we experience is not natural for us to have that. So I
Yeah.
think our not normal either. And I think that's one of the things we need to get out of our heads to know, like, oh, this is just normal. Because I hear it so much when patients step into the office for like their first visit. And it's like, yeah, I have like the normal amount of headaches. So I'm like, what do you mean normal amount? Like, we're not supposed to have it. It's not normal, right? Um,
Yeah.
and so it's not normal to have these sickness and illness. But it's very, very unnatural. And the body is supposed to be able to recover if we do very fully and very quickly. And so I think what it comes down to is that taking care of the needs of like what is it that we need. I think those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. Like, okay, what does my body need? Essentially, if you have a car, then you have a manual, and with this manual, you can know like, okay, I want to be able to get the most out of my car that I just purchased. So let me read the manual. Let me see, okay, what do I need to do? How do I keep up the maintenance of it? And so we have the manual, but what I feel like when we're born, essentially, we don't have a manual of like, okay, how to, like, what is the needs of a human being and how do we do that, right? And I feel like it's not difficult. I think we made it difficult, but I feel like it's very simple, but for some reason we like to complicate things. And I think it comes down to like just meeting those needs because when those needs are met, your body's going to serve you well. Your body's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do, and we won't experience sickness and disease. Like it's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's crazy to me, like that in school we're taught English and math and history and all of these things, but we're not taught just how to take care of ourselves and our bodies. It's crazy.
Wouldn't that be awesome though? Like if there was like literally a curriculum just on like from start to like at least in elementary to high school, a curriculum just talking about okay, what are the needs of the human body, how to maintain health. Like I think that would be absolutely amazing.
It would. I hope that I get to see that happen while I'm alive, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be I also love how you mentioned how we think it's normal to feel sick all the time, or something that I notice is like everyone is always tired, and we think it's normal to be
It's
tired all
normal.
the time.
Yeah.
Even me, I struggle with it, and I'm always trying to find ways to like boost my energy. And I've gotten so used to being tired all the time and pushing through it. And I'm like, this probably isn't normal. Like, and so many of us live life like this. But these things are not normal at all.
Yeah, I think more so we just confuse what's normal with common, right? So
Yes.
common is not normal. It's just something that happens a lot and that's happening around us a lot. So let's take, for instance, obesity. Let's take
Yes.
that to be this common thing, this common thing that happens, that's happening. But if you grow up, I grew up in it essentially, and my family was in obesity. I'm from Mississippi, so we like the like number one at obesity rate in America. Um, so it's a lot around. I've seen a lot essentially, and so with that being said, growing up in it, it's like okay, this common thing becomes your normal thing because this is all you have been exposed to, right? And
True.
so now it's like, oh, this is normal to be overweight or normal to be obese. Um, but look in nature. Like I always go back to like nature. Like we're a part of nature, so I always go back to nature. Like show me an overweight tiger. Like just show me an overweight animal out there. Like it's not gonna happen. Show me one. Show me one that has hypertension, a high cholesterol, cancer. Like show it to me because it's not happening. But ask the question though, why is it happening in our animal kingdom?
It's true. So true. That's such a good analogy.
Yeah,
People that don't really think about that. I've never thought about that actually. That's true.
yeah, it's not happening. Like it's not. For one, I mean, they're eating what they supposed to eat, but they're in alignment with nature. Obviously, they're operating from a different being that that we probably should be operating from, but we gotten away from it. And so they're eating exactly what they're supposed to eat, right? Are not overeating, or like, oh, I don't know what to eat today, like, because I like we literally have like so many birds. I'm always like looking at birds, and like I'm like they find worms in our ground. Like, how do we even know worms are down? Like, you literally just go down, swoop down, boom, pick up a worm, and like they're off. I'm like, how do you even know that?
I know, it's amazing, honestly. They're so in tune with their bodies and what they need, they don't question it. It's like there's animals that eat animals and they don't
Yeah.
think about it. They know it's what they need. They don't question it. And then there's animals that just want plants and eat plants and
And
they don't question
I don't even think it's a capacity that they can. I think that's what makes humans different from animals, is that I don't think the animal can question it per se. This is based on what I've like kind of gathered essentially in my short lifetime, is that they're just in alignment with nature. Like, they're just operating out of nature, and that's exactly how it should be. And if you think about it, I have kids, and I've seen my kids grow up, and literally same with them. They're just operating, right, just alignment with nature. And obviously, when we get older, we get inundated with certain things, certain beliefs, certain limited beliefs, and we then become adults, I guess per se. And we have limited beliefs, we have limited like we have all these different things that we didn't have as a baby, where we were like essentially free. So this is an interesting topic. It definitely goes deeper than that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Kids are the best example of how to just like be in alignment with yourself. I love being around kids for that reason. Like I this weekend I went hiking with my boyfriend and my mom and there was like this um it was like a rock pool and you could jump from the rocks and there were these little kids, they were like 6 years old jumping off of like super super high rocks and like I would be scared to do that and they're just like doing it no problem, no fear. Like that's what I was like before, I got all of these limiting beliefs and fears from the world, and now I'm like such a scaredy cat.
But yeah, prime example, seriously.
So true. um, so I know you talk a lot about stress on your Instagram
Yep.
and how stress plays a huge part in our health. So, how can people reduce their stress levels and why is this so important? Why are you so passionate about talking about stress?
Right. So the why is because I grew up in a household where it's very stressful. Well, I want to say it was very stressful. I would say more so of I witnessed and observed my grandparents and parents being stressed. And so
Mhm.
what I've seen in stress and chronic diseases go hand in hand, because of what stress does to the body, or long-term stress does to the body, because certain stresses are essential for our evolution and growth. But
Mhm.
it's the long-term stress that is the issue. And so I've seen that. So like at an early age, I pretty much said to myself that when I be an adult, I'm not going to stress. Like, that's something that I put out there in the universe a long, long time ago. Um, and I think it actually has served a purpose, or I've just been operating out of this state where I'm like, I've seen this and I don't want to be that. So I'm gonna just do the complete opposite of that. That's
Mhm.
kind of my story of how like the whole stress thing, and like not wanting to stress over things that I don't have any control over, that I can't change it. So it's like it is what it is, you know. Um, and so, and I get a lot from my own family today. It's like Raymond, how are you able to, like, why are you so calm, or like why are you not freaking out, or I'm like, because I can't control it. Like, there's no point in me stressing myself out when I can't control this thing or this person. Like, it doesn't make sense for me to stress myself out, because what I do know, like coming from a chiropractic perspective, I work with the nervous system, which is the brain and spinal cord, and I know that the nervous system has, it's called autonomic nervous system too. It's two different parts of the nervous system, and so that part of the nervous system is how our body goes in either what we call a sympathetic state, which is a fight or flight state, or it goes into its parasympathetic state, which is our rest, digest, healing state. Right? So majority of the time we're supposed to be in our parasympathetic state, which is the digest, the rest, and the healing state. But a lot of the times we're actually operating in this sympathetic state, which is that fight or flight. And so what fight or flight it serves a purpose. So before this modern world that we live in, we had to live in caves or like in jungles. You know what I'm saying? We had to. It was different, right? And so if we're living in these more rural areas, things like that, then we may come in contact with a tiger or some type of animal that could literally demolish us, right? And so we had to either fight our way out or we had to run. So our body is designed to be able to be automatically put into survival mode when it's needed. But what happened is now we're in this modern world and we don't have those threats. But what we have is we have stresses like someone cut us off, or we have a coworker that we don't like, or a boss that we don't like, or spouse that is not working out. Like we have all these different things. Social media, we have the news, like it just goes on and on and on, right? And so the brain doesn't know the difference between what's happening in reality opposed to what we are imagining. So if it doesn't know the difference, then a spouse that I don't get along with can put me in a survival mode, just like a tiger running after me. It's the same exact response to the body, right? And so, and if we're always in this state, and we don't supposed to be in this state a long time, it's supposed to be only a temporary thing where we get out of harm's way and we get into safety, and we're supposed to go back to our normal resting state. And so what this state is doing for us is just making more wear, more tear onto the body, aging us faster, all of this, right? And it's just really, really affecting our health, and that's why I want to take a part in this and help people to be able to help manage that and help just see something a little different so that they can be able to have a different response to it. I think that's what it comes down to. And so some ways to do so is, I think it comes down to being mindful. So mindfulness, meditation is, I think, are great ways to be able to do that. And so being mindful just means to be mindful of what you're doing right now in the moment, right? Like if I'm talking to you, like I'm only talking to you, I'm not worried about anything else around me. This is all that matters to me. And then we get off of this, we go to the office, we work with my patients, and it's always going to matter to me, right? So it's like really being mindful, really being in tune with what you're doing right now, and not focused on anything else that's coming in. So I think that's a way to be able to manage stress, and also meditation, right? Meditation. So we have to get quiet. We have to um, shut off all of the information that we get on a daily basis. We get too much, honestly. And so we have to be able to just get quiet and really just tune into ourselves, because we never, for most people, they never actually like tune into themselves and just check on themselves. I think it's the most important thing that you could ever do for yourself, and one of the highest expressions of self love is just checking in with yourself, and just getting quiet and like, okay, where am I? And those are some ways to do it. Obviously, like working out can be another like stress reliever, moving your body, right? So those are a few.
Yeah, I think, back in the day when we had to worry about like running away from an animal, we literally only had to worry about that and that's it. And it's like now we don't have to worry about that, but we have to worry about like a million other things. And we have all of these things that can stress us out. and cause us trauma and overwhelm us. Like we just have so many options and so many things that can bother us every day and like take us out of ourselves. And I think consciously taking the time every day to come back into yourself is necessary. Like there's no way around that really, because we're constantly bombarded by so many other things and people and other people's opinion and all these like loud noises all day, that we have to make that time, even if it's like 5 minutes a day, just to come home to ourselves and listen to ourselves and hear ourselves, or else it's just a disaster.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, you're spot on. I think that's the thing. It's like you said, there's no other way around it. And I think we know that, right? So it's just like the eating part. Like we feel like we say we don't know what to eat just because we maybe have too many choices, but no, it's like we know what to eat, right?
Yeah.
We know exactly what to eat. So I feel like that's just an old excuse and just an old cop out, that's just been overly used. What's happening is that we know, but it's like, okay, if I accept, then I gotta do it. But if I don't accept it, then I don't have to do it, right? And it goes back to responsibility too. Um, and so it also comes down to, again, you say there's no way around this checking in with yourself, either through mindfulness, meditation, it could be dancing, just moving your body, whatever it is. But a way that you can be able to just be in your own space, not being inundated by other things. There's no other way around it. It's like we do it or we don't do it. Like you're in or you're out, right? So it's no like one foot in, one foot out. Like I don't think it's that way. It's just like you just do it. Like it's that simple. Like just like eating, like you just eat these things. Make sure your body has these because it's gonna give your body the fuel, and that's it, right? Don't eat anything that's going to bring harm to your body.
Yeah.
No animal does it. No animal is going to go out there and eat something that's going to, is going to harm your body, and you're still going to engage in it. We the only ones who do that.
True. Um, so how can people, if they're lost and they want to take control of their health and take their power back and do all of these things, but they're lost and I guess need that extra push, what would be your advice for the first step that they can take to take control of their health and take their power back?
It's a big question.
I know.
Yeah, no.
I feel like you kind of answered it when you were like, just do it, but if you have any other
Yeah,
advice.
I'm pretty simple. I'm pretty straightforward. But I think honestly, I think it comes down to like, okay, this is what I need to do, and this is why I need to do it. You know what? I think it's more so the why. So if people can understand the why, even if they do understand, some people don't take action, but still, they can understand the why. It's like, why do I need to consume these foods or maybe stay away from these foods? Then they're like, okay, that means that I would get this result. Then okay, then let me do this. Right? That seems very simple, but it doesn't happen all the time when we know the why. But I think we know the why behind what we're doing, that makes a lot more sense. And then anything outside of that doesn't really make sense to do, I guess, per se, because it's like I'm doing this because I want to get this result, right? And so I think it's more so of being conscious of what we're doing, why we're doing it, right? So I think a lot of time we get on this autopilot, right? So we're so busy, we're moving, doing this, all this good stuff, and we're never like conscious of what we're doing for the most part. So I think the more conscious we are, means the more conscious we are with our choices, which means the more we're conscious with our like actions, and then we create these behaviors, and then we create lifestyles. It goes back to what we were saying earlier when we began about how we create this lifestyle of being healthy by just making one choice at a time. So that's really what it comes down to. And it honestly comes down to doing it. And I think the biggest piece of it, it may just be a lot for someone to be like, yeah, just do it, but like but what though? You know what I mean? I think it really to accept the fact that it's a journey,
Yeah.
right? I think that's like one of the biggest pieces that someone needs to do up front first. It just accept like, all right, this is a journey. This is a lifestyle thing, right? This isn't 30-day challenge. This isn't a 30-day diet. Like this is none of that temporary. Like it's nothing temporary. This is lifestyle. This is an investment to myself, so I can be able to live the most healthiest, most vibrant, most resilient life.
I love that. And it's honestly such a fun journey
Yeah.
once it started. It's so much fun. It's like it's never ending. So you're never bored, honestly. Like we're not superhuman, so there's always going to be something that we have to work on out of all of those
Yep.
things like stress and fitness and food. And even for me, like every day I'm like, oh, okay, what can I do better today? What do I have to focus on today? And it's really, really fun once you start doing it. It becomes like really, really fun.
No, it's seriously like it's myself. I'm not perfect. Literally this morning, I told my wife, I'm like, all right, we need to start going to the farmers market, right? Like that's the step. Yeah, we get organic stuff, but I mean, it's like, okay, well, where is this stuff coming from? Like, is it coming from a different country? So like that's a step that we're taking in our journey. It's like, all right, we're going to just go. Produce is going to be from our local farmers and local farmers market. So it's like you said, it's a journey and it's fun.
Yep, yep. Yeah, same for me. I realized last week I was getting like my organic animal products from just like the grocery store.
Yeah.
And then I started to think about it and I'm like, I know this is technically organic, but is it really organic? So I started researching like, organic animal products like online that get delivered to your door. And I found so many awesome things and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start using this. And it's like you constantly have to just make those little
Yeah.
choices, not be so hard on yourself along the way either. Just the
There you
journey.
go. Don't be hard on yourself. Just continue like each and every day. But it's just a day. It's a choice by choice thing. You can't look if you look at the entire like journey, it will be overwhelming. But I think if you take it just day by day or choice by choice, action by action, um, it's a lot. Like it's just a journey, just step by step. That's it. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm sure people listening to this are going to want to work with you and learn more about you. Do you have any programs coming up? Do you have any way that people can work with you one on one? Just tell us everything.
Yeah. So just to connect, I'm on Instagram, Dr. Raymond Nichols. But I am launching a program in a week and a half actually. So I'm launching a program a week and a half. It's called Red Line to Renewal. We talk about red line. Red line is like, for instance, that's the stress thing, right? We talked about that sympathetic and parasympathetic state. I like to use the analogy of a car. We have a sports car, we have a sport mode, we have a driving mode. But if you drive this sports car in sport mode all the time and drive it like it's not supposed to be driven, then you're going to have more wear and tear on your vehicle. Same thing works with the body. If we in sport mode for the body is more so that sympathetic fight or flight state. And if we're always in that state, then that's going to wear and tear on your body and your systems. And you're going to have different things that come up, different diseases, different symptoms that pop up. So I want to bring people from this red line state to more of a renewal state where they can just really take control of their lives and really take control of their inner power and really take their responsibility, which is going to help them in their work, relationship, all over. Because the way we show up in the world is like that's who they get, right? So essentially, if something happens or someone says something to me, like how do I take that? How do I respond? Like, right? So most people probably would react and they get emotional. But if we can be able to see it and be able to flip it and be able to really manage our emotions, or more so like knowing what we're feeling why we're feeling it, and being able to respond in a way that isn't like we used to respond. I think that's taking your power back, right? Because that means that nothing outside of you can disrupt your peace and happiness. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. The way we treat ourselves is always going to reflect out into how we treat others and how we show up in the world. So I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to put all of that info in the show notes too,
Okay.
so people can find all of that. But before I let you go, I ask every single person on the podcast this question. What does living a full life mean to you?
Living a full life to me means living in alignment with my unshakable purpose. All right, my unshakable purpose is I am here to connect the disconnected, the disempowered, and the diseased back to their authentic power and expression. So with me is anything that I get involved with, I look through that lens of that purpose because it allows me to like, okay, am I serving this purpose or is this totally outside of my purpose, which means outside of my values, which means I shouldn't be engaged in. So if I'm able to stay this course and stay this path of this purpose, and I know this purpose is going can change a little bit and morph a little bit, but I can allow it. But it's also of like living there because I can be able to get the most out of life if I do that. Because I truly feel that I'm here to do that. That's the purpose, right? So I want to be able to fulfill that. And then when I expire, and that's it. Peace out. So
I
that's
love
that's
that.
living full life, and that can and that purpose can go to family, work, like it's all as long as everything in alignment, right?
I love that answer. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of this amazing information with everybody. And I really appreciate it. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
no, I appreciate you having me. Super.
Of course, of course. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.